I would say much better known because of all the films and activism and things he's done. And he joins us. He's been with us 4 or 5 times before, but he now joins us through video cam from the Lokota Nation that has pulled out of the treaty that the federal government has broken 1 trillion times. He joins us from there, and I have to tell you, he is just so informed on the whole New World Order structure. So we're going to get his take on now 21 states saying they are going to secede if the feds try martial law or gun confiscation. That's in the bills. The Lokota Nation is saying that they're not going along with the tyranny. They've got the strongest case because the treaty's been violated, even stronger than the states. This is so exciting. So Russel Means, great to have you with us. Great to be with you again, Alex. I tell you, this is like Buck Rogers getting to have you, on the simulcast on TV with us. It's unbelievable. Well, here we are. There's so much I want to talk about in the 50 minutes we have with you, but you've got the floor. What would you like to speak about first? There's so many things I want to get into, but what would you like to speak about first? Well, first of all, I'd like to speak about liberty and freedom. Being free is the most important antidote to everything and anything else that's going on, to any kind of conspiracy, to everything. It's being free, and being free together. Not being free according to the Constitution of the United States, although that's a pretty good document. It comes from us, as you know, or you should know. Yes, you're right. But the most important thing about being free is individual sovereignty, individual freedoms, and the guarantees thereof. And the only way you can do that really is through consensus. Because voting, as you've witnessed how the beautiful idea of freedom the United States of America was born with, has been corrupted because they've turned a republic and individual freedom into a democracy, which means mob rule. 50% plus 1 is mob rule. And the worst thing about it is that the other 49.9% have to go along with the majority for a certain length of time. You haven't any options. That's not sovereignty. That is not being free. That's right. Hitler used democracy to set up tyranny. And 51% said the rest of you are going to be our slaves. We're going to kill a bunch of you. In a republic, every person's liberty and freedom is guarded because of the organic rights. And as the Declaration of Independence states, that if the government becomes destructive of those aims, it is not our right, it is our duty to throw it off. And I can think of no other group that has as strong a case to throw it off as Native Americans. Right, and that's why we unilaterally withdrew from our treaties with the United States of America after over 155 years of violations. So we finally threw off that yoke. We're on the brink of extinction ourselves, and that is the major reason we are now free. And we're free with non-Indians also. We are welcoming any and all peoples who want to be free and want to work for freedom in the Republic of Lokota, which is that 5-state area in the northern plains. But there's a thing about America that we must begin to teach the whole scope of this, what is termed now a conspiracy. Because it began really back in the 1840s, less than 75 years after the formation of the United States of America, when they gave the power of the individual to corporations, but none of the penalties. None of the penalties. Consequently, the corporations began to take off. But when Congress committed treason in 1871, that's really the watermark of the beginnings of the conspiracy, because the 1871 Act created the corporation which we are now enslaved under, or you are all enslaved under, because we're no longer there. The point of the 1871 Act was a treasonous act by Congress which established the United States of America as a corporation. And the Constitution of the United States was established at that time, because previously our republic was guaranteed by the Constitution for the United States. Key word there. No, you're absolutely right. Then you go on to 1913 and those other years, the Income Tax Act, the Antitrust Act, and the various other acts that established the Fed and established the bankers' control of our entire nation and its people within, and made us slaves. And then you get to 1933, and off the gold standard, the Social Security national ID number was established. And then you get into the industrial military complex, which was cemented into place after World War II. And with the No Such Agency Act of 1948, which was, by the way, the National Security Agency. If you remember, I can, because I'm that old. I can remember when it was called No Such Agency, because to this day no one knows the real power or the scope of that agency, or even its budget. Not even Congress knows its budget.
Sure.
And then you have the subsequent acts and the conspiracies that we've all come to know and abhor right now, and what we're living under.
I was just going to interject and have you continue with that timeline. They've now announced the National Security Council, through the NSA and the rest of it, is openly running the entire government, that the governors in PDD 51, the John Warner Defense Authorization Act, serve at the pleasure of the president. People thought Obama was going to end all this. He's expanding it. Bush passed the baton. They put in their Judas goat to fool people, and I'd like to get your view on that. And now they're openly announcing the FEMA camps. They're openly announcing bills to basically ban guns. And I mean, you pointed out yourself, they brought in Social Security to domesticate us, to put everybody on the reservation. You know, how they want us dependent, how they want us domesticated, how they want us institutionalized. And then they always call that right wing to say that. No, it's not right or left. This is... So I'd like you to speak to that specifically and the dark times we see unfolding right now, but at the same time, the positive things that are happening, because resistance is accelerating and people are rediscovering liberty and freedom and finding out they don't have a choice. They're going to have to fight.
You know, back in the 1970s, right here on the Pine Ridge Sioux Indian Reservation, all of a sudden, for reasons it will never be explained or explainable, I started receiving quarterly reports from the Trilateral Commission in the U.S. mail.
Wow.
I don't know how I got it or why, and then it lasted for about a year and a half, and it disappeared. But in those quarterly reports, it was phenomenal how they know everything about everything financial in the world. The IMF and the World Bank, which is the credit agencies for every country, and they had a category called quasi-money. I've since come to understand what quasi-money is. It's you and me. It's our Social Security number. It's what enslaves us to all these financial packages the bankers who are running the world have put together. But Obama, listen, Obama is the good cop. They had the bad cop, good cop. This country now, it's mass psychology to its nth. You know, George Orwell nailed it back in the 1940s with his books. But the point, we're in that George Orwellian reality, is the good cop now has made everyone feel, now I was just in Texas, by the way, my friend, and there's best-selling down there is those plates. I couldn't believe it in Texas. The plates of Obama with that Jesus Christ pose. You know, it's like this. And he's looking up, a slight smile. The sun is shining on him, and it makes his skin look bronze or even goldish. But it's the Jesus Christ pose. That's what I call it. And that's the way they're treating him. I talked with some Obama supporters there in Houston, and it was unbelievable. They would not listen to reason. It's like they've been fed some kind of Obama dope, and that they're hooked now. It's, you know, you bring out facts and figures, and they still wouldn't go for it. I can see exactly what he's done. It's almost like he's a drone, that he is some kind of sheeple created especially to pull the cover over. You know, all his appointments are Zionists. All his appointments.